Right, I've got a few things to be able to talk about today. A couple of topics that have kind of happened during the week. A little bit about YouTube, a little bit about earning money. The British gas story continues. Got a few things going on. Also, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who's watched yesterday's video with Sarah and Lee. I won't say the Sarah Lee joke because it's already worn out. But thanks to them, that video's doing pretty well so far. I'll go into a little bit of the details on that as we get into the stream. I had a little bit of rain last night here in Spain, which was nice, especially after the non-event of the eclipse that happened, which was pretty much just covered over by clouds. Friends of ours went to see it in Glasgow, went to see it like it's a cinema, you know, like, oh, have you been to see the eclipse yet? No, but I've seen the Odyssey. Yeah, pals of ours went to Glasgow, a park in Glasgow to watch it. It's just covered in grey cloud. What do you expect? But it was the same here in Spain. So that happened during the week, and then we had a bit of rain, which just kind of cooled it down. Last night, Friday night, we went out for a nice walk around the town. Got to say, this area we're in, it's kind of like very rustic Spanish, and it was nice just seeing these kind of, they're not tourist areas, they're just like the town square with a few little kind of restaurants and bars around the outside, and just people sitting out on a Friday evening, 8, 9 o'clock, just before sunset, having a little half lager, half beer, and just enjoying themselves. It was very peaceful. So we went in, we had a wander down that way. We went into an Irish bar. Of course, we did Scottish and Irish, no problem. So into a little Irish bar just to see what was going on. I had a Jack Daniels and Coke and a packet of popcorn. Popcorn was definitely the highlight. And then we left. That was it. That's where my drinking has resumed to after quite some period of sobriety. Now just getting to the point of enjoying a Friday evening bourbon. Shared the Coke with Yvonne because I'm not really into it that much. I kind of like the bourbon on ice. And that was it. I had a few people asking me recently, oh, are you off the wagon, or are you back on the wagon? What do you say about that? When you've gone from sobriety to back to drinking again? I mean, I'm not in Brad Pitt levels, let's put it that way. I've seen him getting covered this week talking about falling off the wagon. That's it, isn't it? Good morning, Victoria. How you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. How's your Saturday going? I've got one of these little cappuccino coffee things again this morning. Now, I've peeled the lid off of it, right? Just tell me just straight off the bat. Comes with one of these plastic lids, kind of like you would get in a coffee shop. Would you trust this? Would you trust putting this on top of this and then just drinking straight out of it? I'm not sure I do trust that plastic lid. I would expect that I would get a full face and chest of creamy cappuccino, cold cappuccino. Joining from my bed, says Victoria this morning, don't want to get up. I know that feeling. Especially on a Saturday. You just sometimes, like, Yvonne and I could bed rot a whole day away. Sometimes when we're in the UK, they kind of hiding away from life on a Saturday. That never leaves you, I think. But we got up this morning knowing that I was going to do this live stream. Got me up, looking after the cats, getting them fed this morning. Yvonne took care of that. I'm not trying to steal her thunder here. I was up the roof and I was trying to decide whether I could do this live stream from the roof. And I decided it probably wasn't possible because it was going to end up just being a little bit too hot. So let's move that down. So I decided that I would just do it indoors again because the sun was just kind of peeking out. Well, there's a neighbour next door. They've got a bit of a wall, so that kind of puts me a little bit in the shade. And I thought I might be able to do the live stream from the rooftop. I really want to do one up there, just the mountains in the background. But it looked like Scottish person burst into flames 10 minutes into the show. We kind of look like the end of one of those vampire films. 30 Days of Nights, and that's the one I was trying to think of. I'm sorry, I'm choking to death on my own saliva. Oh, Yvonne asked me as well just before I started, do you want water? And I was like, nah. No, I could probably use this. So, our pals Becky and Mark getting married today. Congrats to them. We wish them all the best. Sent them a little message last night. And also, I've got a little bit of a very small, minor celebration. And that very small, minor celebration is that my YouTube page today says I've published 400 videos since I started the channel 18 months ago. So that's like 22 videos, 22.2 videos a month. Now that includes lives and it includes shorts. So I think it's about 300 long form videos I've made on the channel. So I just wanted to say to people that have been watching this, thanks very much. I can't say it any more clear or truer than that. Just thanks very much. I appreciate hearing from people, whether that be just in the comments on videos or in emails or whatever else. But thanks very much for watching all of these. It kind of gives me motivation to make videos and have topics to cover. So thanks, 400 videos. It seems wild. Let's have a little bit of a flick through the comments so far. Tony, how you doing, mate? Hope Yvonne's over a flu. I had to ask AI how to say hello at old school watching in new school. Yeah, Yvonne is all well and fine. I was trying to think about how to talk about this, right? Just to kind of address something. Now, Yvonne writes her own Substack, right? There's normally a link somewhere. I'll leave a link after this. Yvonne writes her own Substack. What's Substack? It's like a blog where she kind of shares. People always ask, like, what's Yvonne's opinion on this? What does Yvonne think of that? And sometimes she likes being on camera. Sometimes she doesn't. So I kind of respect her space and all of this. She's definitely kind of eased into it, appearing more on camera now than she's probably ever done. But she writes her own Substack. And within that Substack, she shares her own womanly view of traveling and all of the things that go on. And this week, she wrote a particular blog around what's been happening with her body mid-age, like 48 years old. So I don't think I'm kind of saying anything here that she hasn't already publicly posted about. But when it came to being a little bit unwell, I had a comment from somebody on a video that basically was saying that the two of us had wandered around a mall infecting people potentially with a virus. And did we understand how many people we could have made ill and why we weren't wearing face masks? It wasn't, I wasn't ill. Yvonne had a mid-age bodily thing going on with her, that maybe middle-aged women would recognise. And the result of that was feeling a little bit worn down for a number of days. And she wrote about it this week. So I kind of chuckled because I thought, it fucking cracks me up the way that people go on in the comments sometimes. Like this person's like, you never wore face masks. You know how many people you've infected? I'm like, she's on a period, mate. Like pre-menopause. You're not going to catch that if you're touching a camera in a fucking shopping mall. Geese peace. Sorry to swear so early on a Saturday morning, but sometimes these things just crack me up. There's only so much you kind of say at times, but Yvonne has discussed this in our blog, so which is why I'm saying it so crudely now as her husband. So thanks, Tony, for the concern. She's fine. I was right as rain the whole way through it, as you would expect, as a bloke. We just have other issues, right? Oh, Christ. Cracks me up. Good morning, Jenny. How you doing, pal? Nice to see you. I'm glad to see you've ditched us. Don't worry about it. I'll bring it up on air. Long-term pal of ours. Going to travel to see us. Ditched us for a rave. That's totally fine. Yvonne, totally fine with you as well? Totally fine with Yvonne. That's just fine, Jenny. You just go to the rave. Middle-aged. Oh, cracks me up. A lot of people now don't wear masks. I mean, if and menopause actually quite. Oh, that's very good, Victoria. Menopause. I probably get that every day. Menopause. Good morning, Johnny boy. How's it going? Morning for Aberdeen. Do you know I've never been to Aberdeen? I have no recollection. I was trying to think there if I'd ever been for like a work meeting or something. Been to Inverness once, flew in, but I've never been to Aberdeen. That's tragic, isn't it? As a Scottish person, you should have been round your own country. I fully acknowledge that. It's not too late. Maybe a trip to Aberdeen somewhere down the line. But maybe Johnny will come back now in the comments and tell us, don't make it shit. I wouldn't want to fill in the blanks for you there, Johnny. Rave is pre-menopause, will be mint. Johnny's already answered it for us. You're no missing much. We had really debated about going back to Glasgow to see our pals. We really had a lot of back and forth on it, and we've ended up deciding not to. I don't know. It just feels like it feels like if you're going to leave, you need to have made the effort to stay away for at least a year, right, without going back. And now that we're in Europe, right, we're in Spain. I'll say this much about being in Spain. It's way quieter. Obviously, we're in a very rural area, well, a small town, 25,000 residents. There's no screaming motorbikes 24 hours a day. There's no Grab deliveries. I don't even think there's Uber here. We've had an Amazon delivery and the guy came walking down the street with the boxes. I don't even know where his van was. So certainly wasn't in any close proximity. And he could only come once a week for the Amazon delivery. So being back in Spain has kind of reminded us of the rural aspects of European living. And I'll tell you what I've absolutely loved and just adopted is the Mediterranean diet. There's a couple of local shops that make fresh bread every day. There's actually a rotisserie chicken shop down the street, and Yvonne and I passed by last Sunday, and it was the busiest shop we've seen in a week and a half of living here. The queue was like down the street for rotisserie chicken on a Sunday. That's all the shop does, just chicken. Not KFC, just a family-run rotisserie chicken shop. And then Yvonne was like, oh, we should get a chicken. So she went to the supermarket. That shop wasn't open midweek. And she bought a rotisserie chicken and came home and realised it's not even been cooked. So that was pretty disappointing when we decided we were going to have it. We discovered it hadn't actually been cooked yet. Do you know 1 year Yvonne went out to get us a turkey for Christmas dinner, and on Christmas Day when she opened it, I saw it and I was like, that's a small looking turkey. That's like an underfed turkey. And I was like to Yvonne, are you sure that's a turkey? And then when I properly looked, it was a chicken. Yvonne bought us a chicken for Christmas Day dinner 1 year in a rush in the supermarket. That was about 25 years ago, and I've never let her live it down. And I still won't. Those little memories stick in the back of my mind. So Mediterranean diet, I'm absolutely loving it. Fresh bread, just going back to like a crispy baguette. Last night, late at night, we had a little bit of baguette with fresh mozzarella, Spanish tomato, a little bit of ham, gamon. That's my Duolingo Spanish right there. And it was lovely. You know, just that at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, sitting with a nice glass of lemon Fanta. I don't know where that accent's coming from. I don't do accents. My sympathy to Yvonne going through it as well. See, Victoria, there's sisterhood right there, all recognising the same challenges. And like I say, although I'm talking about this, Yvonne wrote about it in her Substack and shared it publicly, what it was like to be a sweltering hot body in a sweltering hot country, whilst also travelling 30 plus hours on flights and all sorts in the last couple of weeks. A humorous blog. If you haven't read it, I will link it down below. And you can check it out. She would appreciate you reading along and sharing her views on all of this. But to the commenter who was telling us that we were infecting people in the shopping mall, settle the fuck down. Fucking take a day off. 20th wedding anniversary and the 21st got married. And East Kilbride, did you, Tony? East Kilbride. What else is going on? Just have to watch out for the wildfires. Did your phone send an alarm? Isn't it? I try not to get political on this channel, but isn't it mental that when you give people some power, like, we want to control the alert system for mobile phones, okay, but listen, it's only for war or serious incidents. Okay, we agree. We'll only use it for war and serious incidents. Send an alert out to tell Britain we're banning barbecues. Hit the button. Hit the button 3 times. Do you know what? I can only laugh about this because I'm looking from the outside in, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Prison Island sending out text messages about banning barbecues. 3 times people got it. I didn't get it because when I lived in Britain, I turned that shit off. I turned it off because I had the foresight of recognising that as soon as they got the power, they would end up abusing the power. And here we are, sending text messages about barbecues. Dear me. Cracks me up. So Jenny says, I'd rather have a chicken than a turkey. Not on Christmas Day. No, this is where I sit on this topic, right? See people that have gammon. See people that have like a salmon on Christmas Day. Who are these weirdos? Who are these outsiders of society? Christmas Day is for turkey and only just at a push roast beef. Only, I mean, I would tolerate both of them on the plate. It's also, see this like three bird thing? No, that's not happening. None of that 3 bird roast. Absolute nonsense. No, definitely not. Kevin, how you doing? Lakeland in Florida. Very nice, Kevin. What's Lakeland in Florida like? What's the temperature like there? We've only ever been to Florida once. It was one of Yvonne and I's first ever holidays together as a young couple. I think we might have been 17 or 18. We went to, did we stay? We stayed in, was it near Kissimmee? Is that right? International Drive. We stayed on International Drive, says the caller from the back corner of the room that won't join the lies, but will take part just by throwing in answers when my brain can't compute. But I'd like to go back to Florida. I could do a wee house sit in Florida because I hear there's a lot of Airbnbs that are empty right now. Jenny says, I thought we were under attack. Yes, by blazing barbecues, Jenny. How dare you go outside and cook a bit of meat? I also hear the space bin got like 26% of the vote. Again, topical news. Right, 400 videos. Can you believe that? I was quite surprised by that. Hello, David, mate. How you doing? Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining us. I hope something's tickling you this morning, not just my pish chat. The fires was a request from the fire service. Right, but you understand the point that sending a text message to the entire country isn't just something that you're like, hello, Andy. Yes, it's the fire service here. Yes, yeah, we've been a bit busy the last couple of days. Is there any chance you could just send a wee text message out to the whole of the country and just remind them that fire safety comes first? Check their smoke alarms. Any beeps that's going on, that needs a new battery. And always make sure that you put your barbecue on top of something like wood or something, just not on the grass. Any chance you could pop one of them out for us? Hi, it's Andy here. Yep, no problem. Tell you what we'll do. We'll send it out 3 times to the country. Would that get the message home? All right, got it. We're on it. We'll get it done. Thanks, lads. It's meant to be for war. Not just, hi, Andy. It's the ambulance service here. We just saw your text message go out on behalf of the fire brigade. Is there any chance you could tell people to get less pissed this weekend? Because we are really up against it with the number of staff that's available. We'll get right on that. We're not a serious country. I never meant this to be an impersonations channel. That's just, I blame the cappuccinos. There's a lot of sugar in this. Vicky says, Victoria, just in case, there are so many wildfires at present and some are being set off by people. I would technically correct that statement and say there are so many arsons at present in the UK right now, and all of them are being set off by people. Grass doesn't burst into flames. It doesn't. Not till like 235 degrees, as I read on X this morning, and I'm sure that's factually correct. Good morning, Archie. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Chicken every time, except when your wife buys it and stores it and it goes off. Oh, sausages with... I just want to go back and clarify here. Are we talking about a Christmas Day dinner? A Christmas Day dinner? Archie, mate, I think you're going to need to have a time out. Jenny says, the alert disturbed me picking up my chow mein. Was it a Vesta chow mein? If it wasn't a Vesta in a cardboard box chow mein, I'm disappointed in you. I mean, I covered that on this channel, and then I started another channel to cover that, and then I never did anything else with that channel. Right, speaking of channels, right, let me tell you a little story. During the week, I did a live stream on Wednesday, and I was talking about the new YouTube 8,000 hours and all that stuff. And I was saying, look, you know, it's if you can't make 4,000 hours now, of course, 8,000 is going to be tough. But if you can't do 8,000 hours in a year, 12 months a year, you're not going to make any money from YouTube anyway. So either you're going to have to put the effort in, right? So I digress on all of this. I wanted to share a little story with you. I follow this guy on Instagram. His name's Ben, right? He's a window cleaner, and last year, I think like August of last year, he started his Instagram page, and he basically took up this challenge, right, of doing 100 press-ups a day. Now, he was a big lad. He was a big lad. Started doing 100 press-ups a day, and he's been doing it like every single day, making videos about it. He's built like quite a sizable Instagram following, like 50,000 followers or something. And anyway, he started watching my channel, and I was following him. And he messaged me a couple of times, and he was like, I love listening to your stuff. And I was saying, oh, I really appreciate your work ethic. Somebody that gets up, he's a big lad, right? Gets up every day, does 100 press ups. And like a year odd later now, he's absolutely ripped. He looks amazing. And he's a dad, and he's got his window cleaning business. And now Instagram's kind of turned into a business. He messaged me a couple of days ago. He was like, I watched your video. This is like a voicemail. But I don't know Ben. I've never met him. We've literally just, I like your content. I like your content. All the best. That kind of thing. And he sent me a voicemail saying, can I ask a little bit of advice? I watched your video about YouTube, the 8,000 hours thing. And I want to start a YouTube channel, and I want to try and get to the monetization, 4,000 hours, before the new rules come into effect next February. Do you think it's possible? And what should I do? And then he told me something that kind of blew my mind a little bit. He was about to pay a company, like a YouTube company, right? One of these guru things, $4,000 to tell him how to make YouTube videos, like just how to post YouTube content. And he messaged me and he was like, do you know this company? And I did. And he was asking me, what do you think? What advice would you give me? And I messaged him back and said, I wouldn't spend $4,000 on that, mate. I would just make a video, post it, and get on with it. Like, he was in this phase of like analysis paralysis, and I so recognize that, because one of the hardest things about doing all of this, right, making videos and everything, is keeping the momentum going, right? And I say this because I just told you I've made 400 videos here, but I've got other channels, and I struggle sometimes to like find the mental capacity to want to do it. When I get into a rhythm with something, I'm just on it. I'm locked in, especially when I really care about it, when I love it, like exercise as I've mentioned, I can never be perfect all the time. So when I've talked here about resisting alcohol for a period of time and going sober, and then recently I've drifted away from that a little bit. I've kind of loosened off standards I was holding myself to. I just can't stay on it with everything all the time. But when I recognize that, I kind of give myself a little bit of grace on it. So he was saying, I'm going to spend $4,000 with this company. What do I do? And I was like, don't do that, mate. Here's a plan. And I just left him a couple of voicemails, right? Now, I said to him, make a video today and just do something. No edits, no flashy graphics, no music, no nothing. Just make something, post it, and tomorrow talk about what it was like to get over that hurdle. Because as somebody who's capable of getting up every day and doing 100 press-ups for a year and losing a shit ton of weight and making Instagram posts about it, how are you not applying that same mental logic to just making a YouTube video? But he was so stuck in the weeds. How do you title it? What do you do with the thumbnails? What do you do with descriptions, keywords? And he was going to pay a company $4,000 to tell him what he already knew. And so he made the video the same day, right? And he posted it. And I've got his page here, right? This is his page. I want you to go and have a look at this, right? So like, even just for, like, it doesn't matter whether you're a male, female, you're into fitness or not. He does just really basic, simple routines, right? And it's more about the ability to start something from scratch. So see all the people that have got YouTube channels here that were like, I'll never get to the 8,000. Take this motivation of a guy here, discipline, drive, right? This is Ben. And that's his first two videos, right? So he's already made two. First one did 829 views in the first day. Second one's done 316 views. And he just talked openly about that mental challenge of like trying to get on with it all, right? And I messaged him yesterday and I said, well done, first two videos in the bank. Now make a video every single day for 30 days and you'll be well on your way to the 4,000 hours. And don't worry about the edits and the mistakes and everything else. You will learn on your way. And that's exactly what he's doing. Now, he's got a full-time job. He's got a kid. He's a window cleaner. He's grafting hard. And now he's got a second business. And is making a video every day hard? Yeah. But see, if you want that target and you want to get to those goals, you have to put the effort in. And if you can't put that level of effort in, you would never make money on YouTube anyway. So it would be a total waste of time. You are not going to make peanuts off of YouTube if you cannot get to that level. And he's like, again, just props to Ben. And again, I'm just going to say this. I don't know Ben. I don't gain anything out of this other than see that mindset. I really connect with that mindset. See when somebody comes and says to you, can you share a bit of advice? And you give them the advice. And before the day's out, they've already implemented it. I connect with that so much because I see the tell me it and I'm going to go and do it. Not the tell me it and then I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I can't do that. There's nothing more that switches me off in terms of like wanting to talk to you and engage with you. Like he sent me a message this morning, a funny message, right? And he was like, if we ever meet, let me buy you a steak because of what you've said so far, right? And I was like, that's no need for that. Happy to just share some comms with you. But I'll tell you a little funny bit, right? He's got a fiance and he was at his fiance's house, his fiance's aunt's house. And his fiance's aunt was like, are you talking to that guy John talks about? I've been watching his channels. And that utterly cracked me up this morning because I thought that's hilarious. Like, he's watching the channel, I'm watching his channel. Now he's gone away and started a YouTube channel, and then it turns out his fiance's aunt.
So, John, I'm just at my fiance's auntie's house, and I just come in the house, and she's gone, no, I wasn't eavesdropping, but I could hear a voice outside. She goes, was that John talks about? So,
that fucking tickled me this morning. That's worth more than any YouTube AdSense. So if you want to do a little exercise routine, and I mean like for any level, go and check out Ben's channel. He's got like 3,500 subscribers, right? He's built a massive following on Instagram, but it is not easy to transfer that audience to another platform. People come for different things. People that watch shorts don't typically watch long form. They're different viewers. And so building something on Instagram doesn't instantly transfer to YouTube. He's came over to YouTube and he's trying. And I so respect that. I respect the work ethic. I respect like implementing simple, like just make it, mate. Just go and make it. Don't worry about the rest of it. Just start. And so, again, coming back to a Wednesday night, 8,000 hours is the new announcement from YouTube. You'll get 8,000 hours. You will make that. It's not as hard as you think it is. But before that, you've got 6 months to get to 4,000 watch hours, right? And I'll give you a little statistic, right? I posted a video yesterday, 50 minutes long, talking to Lee and Sarah, an English couple who've left the UK and they've gone traveling and they're living a bit of life. And Yvonne and I met them and again, had a really nice connection with them. And we sat down and chatted in a park. I don't research for these things. I don't write down questions. I sat down and we just chatted and I edited it and videoed it as best I could. I don't know what I'm doing with all that stuff either. Set 2 cameras up. I had no idea how I was going to mix that. The audio, I recorded some of it on my iPhone. I just learned all of that post filming it, how to do it. Right. So just do something and then figure that. Was it Richard Branson that said if you ever get a job opportunity and you don't know what you're doing, say yes first and figure the rest of it out after that? That's exactly what to do. Right, well, I posted that video yesterday, right? It's had 2,000 views. Never mind that. It's done 357 hours. One video of us chatting to another couple in a park. It's done 357 hours in the first 12 hours of being published. You don't need a big audience. You just need the right content. YouTube right now will push anybody who starts with the right content out, and you will pick up hours. So don't fear 4,000, 8,000. If you're going to make something, get on with it. All right, Drill Sergeant John is done. Let me go back to my coffee and the questions and the topic. But go follow Ben. Go watch his channel. He's a good lad. I've had too much sugar this morning. Count Binface went up to the Edinburgh Fringe for a one-off show last night. I mean, he is a comedian, right? Did I read that he used to write for The Thick of It for the BBC? So he is a comedian before he was Count Binface. But what a country. Living in the council estate, mic stand. Do you know, it's funny you mention that, right? We're going to have to downsize again. We're leaving this location, this part of Spain, and we're moving in a week's time. And Yvonne and I are just going to take backpacks. And I used to have this proper microphone that I was doing the podcasts with, and I'm going to have to get rid of it. It's too much weight. This microphone and stand work perfectly. But thanks for noticing. I appreciate it. I mean, this is a conversation for about a week ago, Jenny, but this is pretty much standard with you, isn't it, love? Isn't it, love? Just in case anybody's wondering, I know Jenny. I'm not just randomly talking, giving banter like that to a stranger on YouTube. Surrey case, turkey became common 20th century. If you're thinking about British Canada Christmas tradition. Ooh, okay. Christmas feasts often featured boar's head, goose, beef, and venison. Okay, I stand corrected. Thank you very much for the detail, Surrey case. Oz Tim. BBC trying to say it's all climate change. Of course, bless their little cotton socks. Yes, exactly, Oz Tim. When did you first become awake, Tim? That's always a question that I'm curious of. For me, it was 2020. I think we all know what happened in 2020. That was the minute I opened my eyes and I was like, fuck this. I cancelled my BBC TV license. I unplugged Sky. And I've never watched terrestrial news ever since. Save your money sounded like a scam. I think you're probably talking about the Ben thing. The company that he was going to use, totally legit company, massive organization. But sometimes people just need to hear, just get on with it and not sit down for an hour-long video chat with somebody. And I say that in the nicest possible way. As somebody who has sat down and talked to people for an hour about things, hosted calls, but not at $4,000. Certainly not at that level. Kevin says 77 degrees right now in Florida. I'm a 77 degrees. I mean, I'm going to use the word retard. I'm such a retard because I put myself such a retard sometimes that I'm like, is 77 degrees hot? I've no idea. I always think about these things when it comes to like Glasgow. Would 77 degrees be hot in Glasgow? Hello, Julie. How you doing? Nice to see you. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you. We're having a relaxed start, apart from, I mean, this is me relaxed, right? Being my typical animated self. We'll watch later. Shopping needs done. All right. Do us a favour, will you, though, Julie? Get his 6 cans of Fanta when you're there, please. Thanks very much. Chris, 2 lives in 1 week. Hello, John. Yep, mate. Sometimes I bore myself and end up coming on and doing 2 lives. Just depends on the location and the internet connection and all those other things. Time zones are definitely working in our favour this way around. So we're going to reduce down the amount of stuff that we've got. I keep saying this about the suitcase. I've got a suitcase. Our pals from Glasgow are going to try and take a few things back. Black t-shirts. Black t-shirts are going, the band t-shirts, the Fontaines DC, the Deftones. I'm keeping the Metallica. You need to have some kind of representation. And my other one is the Danny Carey t-shirt, the one that causes the most amount of controversy. I think people look at the emblem on the front of it and think it means something completely different. It's a Danny Carey, who is the drummer of Tool, fan club t-shirt, because he's an absolute legend. So I'm probably going to keep 2 out of the 4. Yvonne's getting rid of a few things. Then the microphone is going. I've got a little travel router that I've just stopped using. So I'm probably going to get rid of the travel router. That's going to condense down. All the medical paperwork from my hospital experience will probably go. It sounds like nothing, right? But it's like a bundle like this thick. So we're going to condense down a little bit. When we leave this part of Spain that we're in, we're leaving our bags behind at the house we're at now. And then we're going to have to go to meet and spend some time with our pals for holiday. And then we're going to actually have to come back here, because the 2nd of September will be the scheduled hearing for the arbitration case. I mentioned this on Wednesday, so I'm slightly shiting myself about that. And I don't want to be traveling. Do you ever get that mindset when something big's happening? It kind of ruins the rest of your thought process. Like, you know, like that. I've read that this is an ADHD thing, right? And I'm sure people will disagree, but I do relate to it a lot. See, if I had like a big meeting at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like a call to dial into, this was at work or just personal life, my whole day before that is completely ruined. Total paralysis. Like, I'm saying about Ben, like, just make things happen. I'll sit and think about that whole meeting, and the arbitration meeting I'm going to have is 6 o'clock in the evening on the 2nd of September. So that's a whole day ruined. There's no way I could think about like traveling or moving locations. And we were due to leave Spain on the 1st. And we were thinking about going to Holland, or we were thinking about going to Dubai, or going to Holland, then Dubai. And then we were like, we could maybe go to like somewhere else. We were like, we could maybe go to Lanzarote, we could maybe go to Ibiza. We're throwing ideas around. Isn't that wild to be able to just sit and go? I mean, last night over that Jack and Coke, Yvonne and I were like, should we just go to Canada? We were going to go see a pal in Canada. And we messaged that pal in Canada, and then she was like, it's miserable here if you came after August. And we were like, right, fuck it, we won't go to Canada. So we'll probably just go back to Southeast Asia. But with the arbitration case being on the 2nd, I can't move. So we've asked the owner of this house, can we come back and stay for a couple of days? She said, no problem. So we're going to come back here. I'll get that case out of the way, and then we'll fly out after that. But we're going to try and do all of that with the smallest amount of personal possessions that we've ever travelled with so far. Never too late. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you again. Morning, John. Great advice there, mate. Do you know, it's like, I know you've got your own channel as well. It's just make it happen, right? Post. I've talked about this in previous weeks. If you make 10 videos, there's just this kind of unwritten rule that it seems like one of them will just pop off a little bit further than others. And as I've mentioned, my last like 10 odd videos were getting like 2,000 views. Then I made one about a roast beef dinner in Kuala Lumpur, did like 12,000 views. That's just one that gets flung out a little bit further. But if you don't make 10 videos, you're never going to start pushing through that kind of what feels like a bit of a glass ceiling. And if you can't make 10 videos in quick succession, you'll never make any money on YouTube anyway. So you're worried about something that would have no impact on you whatsoever. I know it feels tough from YouTube, but also it's a bit of a, not getting into the whole shorts discussion, but there's a bit of a reality check if you can't hit those watch hours. It's like, oh, I'm too busy. I've not got the time to make all of that. Like when I was talking, here's what I was telling Ben, right? He's a fitness guy. does 100 press-ups a day. And I was saying to him, like, every video you make every day doesn't need to be about the press-ups. Like, a video in between all of that could just be about the mental aspect of overcoming the challenge of starting a YouTube channel. Like, people want to hear about that real life struggle. Like, how can a guy who's gone from being 16, 17 stone to having abs and looking shredded in the space of a year doing 100 press-ups be mentally struggling with making a YouTube video? Tell us what that's like. And that's what he's working on. That's exactly what he's working on now. So from karaoke's in the past. I don't know if you heard any of that there. You can tell me if you heard me mentioning Yvonne's karaoke stuff. You're an influencer now. No. 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 Right. Now, see this, right? When YouTube made its announcements this week about the new terms and conditions on the platform, they also stated new ways that you could make money. One of them is around products and the other one is around gifts. And I didn't really know what this was. I clicked on the gifts to kind of read about it. And as soon as I clicked on it, it was like, you need to provide us with your ID for this. And I was like, all right, I don't want to get, I've already done it on YouTube, right? But I don't want to get down this route again now. And I logged out of it. See, when I logged out of it, I got an email from YouTube straight away saying, you need to provide us with your ID. I'm like, oh, I don't want to now not get a monthly payment. So I had to go in, put my passport in, had to go through a verification check and then got accepted. And then at the back of that, I got a message saying, you're now accepted to receive gifts. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. And then I started looking into it and I realized this is just one of these like TikTok things where, you know, when people are on their TikToks and you're like, oh, have 5 cherries and have 2 rainbows. And you're like, what the fuck is 5 cherries and 2 rainbows? How is that not just here's a $5 or here's £2 or get a coffee or whatever? And now I'm in that, right? And I didn't know how to turn it off. And now this is a mate of mine who's sending me 200 joules. What is that? I bet you any money this is going to be like 20 pence or something. And YouTube's going to take 45% of that. So YouTube is basically like, hi guys, we've just made an announcement where we've decided to change the rules where you're not going to make any money from shorts on your channel moving forward unless you get 10 million views. Oh, sorry, John, your average viewership on your shorts is 3,000. So we're going to take the ad revenue from that. But here's 5 joules, you little peasant. And 5 joules is worth 0.0001 of a pence. I'm an ungrateful. Thanks, James. Would you like me to do one of those little NPC dance things now? Chris, you are famous. Don't forget us when you're at a Malibu beach house. Right, let's put this to the test. Let's put fame to the test. Let's do this. I'll tell you what we'll do, right? Let's go in and put the price of fame into YouTube right now and calculate my fame score. And by fame score, I mean earnings. So let's do a little screen share and let's go to YouTube Analytics. And let's add that to the stage. Right, there you go, Chris. There's my fame score on the screen right now. And my fame score for the month of August is £91.93. with negative 18 subscribers. So my fame score has just decreased by 18. And again, a number certainly worth knowing, 3.2K in watch time. So again, the people that are saying 4,000 watch hours in 6 months is difficult and 8,000 is impossible. In 1 month, this channel, as a very small YouTube creator, losing subscribers and earning 91 quid, I've done 3.2. Now remember, YouTube only pays out after £60. So you need to be above £60 in a month to get a payment. I'm at 91 with 3.2K. So see if you can't get to the 4,000 watch hours, you would never get a payment. You'd never get a payment. It would take months and months to get a payment. So, like, if you're not making videos to that level to get that kind of viewership, then it's a hobby, and that's okay. Like, this is a hobby for me. It's not my career. I love making content. I love doing lives. I love getting 200 joules. I love the banter. But it isn't a career. Like, Yvonne went out and spent that on face cream the other week there. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. But thanks, Chris. I appreciate my fandom is currently negative 18. Oh, Jenny. I feel attacked. Scandinavians have reindeer for Christmas dinner and Polish have carp. I'm just going to process that for a wee second. Fish on Christmas Day. Nah. Kevin, how did you pay for your coffee this morning, John? Kevin, I had to get off my own arse and walk down to the Spar and use my Revolut bank card. That's how I paid for it. It was delicious, but I could only afford the one. 40 degrees would be hot in Glasgow. I was telling somebody the other night, so the owner of this house, she was still here for a couple of days before she went on holiday, and we went out in the evening. We met some of our kind of local friends in the area, and I was telling one of the women was from New York. She's from Brooklyn. There are certain accents in the world when you meet them, when you meet people who've got them, that you kind of like really like. I'm going to say this, right? I don't think I have an accent. To you, I have an accent. I just think I just sound like me, right? I don't recognize the accent. Now, funnily, I spent 5 years working in London, and when I would go home, right, my dad would say, God, you sound like such an English twat. And I'd be like, what? I'm talking the same. And he's like, oh, you've spent too long down there, son. And then I would spend a weekend with my dad and I'd go back to London. And when I get into the office, people in the office would say, you've been home, haven't you? And I'd be like, what? And they're like, you speak so fast. But I'm sitting with this woman the other night and she's got a Brooklyn accent and our partner's from Dublin. My sister lives in Dublin, so it was a nice wee kind of like, you're listening to these accents and voices. And I'm listening to this Brooklyn accent. Sounds great, right? You're just sitting there. She's having a glass of wine. I'm having a half a lager like a proper man. A shandy, nonetheless. And we're chatting. And we were talking about the temperature and the heat. And I was saying about being Scottish. And I was saying that anything above like 18 degrees in Glasgow is considered hot. And I said to her that the temperature 21 degrees in Glasgow is officially taps off weather. And then I had to explain to her what taps off weather meant. So if you know in here what taps off weather means, we can be pals. Sorry, Case, do you miss Asia yet? Yeah, I miss the cooler temperatures of Asia versus Spain. But we're definitely already looking forward to kind of planning returning. I think maybe Bali or maybe Thailand will be first. I don't see us going back to Malaysia this year. Be next year now before we do that. But we've enjoyed the change of location. It's been nice to kind of just do the new areas and new vibes and different accents. Again, just with the bar we went into last night, the Irish bar, the woman behind the counter only spoke Spanish, and I'm just looking at her like rabbit in the headlights, reaching for my phone to try and get Chat GPT out to translate what she was saying to me, just because I was trying to order popcorn. And she was trying to tell me, just help yourself to the packet on the shelf. And I was just like staring at her. And Yvonne's done like a year and a half of Duolingo and knew nothing. Helped out not a jot with the discussion. So that was a bit of a bummer. What else have we got going on? Let's have a little flick through. That is exactly ADHD. It's basically waiting mode. Thank you for verifying my discussion topic there. It's basically waiting mode. Ruins the entire day. Same with a dentist or doctor's appointment. It's 1 PM, entire morning ruined, waiting mode. Thank you. That is, I know Jenny, my pal who's in here, would have validated this if she's not already. But that's exactly it. I always forget that title, waiting mode. So 6 PM call, whole day ruined. Just and not just for me at this point with that, not just the day, like that week's travel arrangements completely off kilter. I can't sit down and process a arbitration hearing whilst thinking about, are we flying into Amsterdam or are we flying into Schiphol Airport and when are we leaving and where's the accommodation and how do we, no, I can't do any of that. So the easiest answer will be, we'll arrive back here for a couple of days, I'll do the case and then think about what comes after that. And Yvonne's kind of like managing the stuff beyond that because my brain just can't process it. But thank you for sharing that. Tickety Blue says it's the same when the boss says, let's have a chat this afternoon. Agreed. See when management book in with you and they do the whole, let's meet at 4:30 or 4:45 because their whole day is absolutely slammed. There's nothing worse than that. That's horrific. To me, that's just the whole day of paralysis. What's going to happen? Am I getting fired? Oh, has something happened in the company? Is there going to be a restructure? Then you get to the meeting and they're just like, just wanted to check in, see how you're getting on, how things going in your department. But I've been sweating over this the whole day. We're in Canada, Toronto. She's in Toronto. David, hello David, how you doing? Be watching the channel. Real life after 62, guy from Glasgow, left for Spain 4 years ago. He's recently visited Glasgow again and says it's changed so much in just 4 years. Pretty scary. Yeah, I mean, Yvonne and I, we lived in Tradeston, and we lived in one of the old co-op buildings in Tradeston for 8 years. 8 years we lived there in Tradeston. Before that, we were in East Kilbride. And then we left and we lived in England for 13 years. And occasionally when we would go back often, but we weren't necessarily in the city. And occasionally when we go into the city, we would just be looking around like, oh my God, it's just declining and declining and declining. And it's like Village of the Damned. Our pals that live there, they live on the south side, which is a little bit better. But even there, it's a shame. All that council tax money is just getting absolutely wasted. The city is just degrading. Somebody came on the other day and was saying they had just gone on Wednesday's live stream. They had just gone back to Edinburgh, or somebody they knew had gone back to Edinburgh was saying exactly the same. I mean, East Kilbride, where I was born in East Kilbride. When I was back there, what would that be now? Last year, early in the year, when I was kind of finishing off dealing with my dad's house, Yvonne and I would go down to the town centre. We'd take a walk around the town centre, and somewhere that I'd spent my youth growing up and all the kind of fond memories, going record shopping, going to your first pub in the town centre, going to the cinema, the ice skating. Man, it was just like, it was like the back rooms. just soulless and empty, and so many empty shops. I mean, my first ever job was in East Kilbride Town Centre. I worked in Glasgow City Centre for years. Worked at Parkhead, at the Forge in Parkhead. Just all like, so run down and so sad to see. I don't know how it changes. I just don't know how it turns around, because it just seems like, successive governments hell-bent on just pissing all the money away. It's wild. Chris, I changed my name on here. That's as far as I got. No driving license, no van, stopped working, nothing for a year before you, and so skint now. Yeah, I mean, I feel for you there, mate. That's tough. That really is tough. I see so many people just now that are out of work and, kind of struggling to make ends meet, trying to just get by. And it feels like any help that's on their horizon isn't necessarily going to people within the country that need it. Mac, hello John, can you recommend any travel escape vloggers who have school children? So there's a kind of friends of this channel, Carrie and Richard, whose channel is called Britain to Beyond. They left not long after us. They have 2 small daughters that are traveling. I'm trying to think, there's a channel, is it the Smiths? I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I can quickly Google it. The Smiths. The Smiths on Tour is a couple from, I think, kind of Yorkshire area that are travelling with their daughter, and they've got another daughter in the UK. So the Smiths on Tour. And then what was the other family that were travelling for a while that we followed? The super slick videos with the drone shots and all that. I'm trying to think what their channel was called. God, I'm terrible at remembering these things. Let me see if I can find it. So Britain to Beyond is Carrie and Richard. I'm trying to think specifically about channels that have got kids, because there's a lot that we kind of follow that are just like couples, or they're kind of more closer to retirees. Let me see if I can find this other one. So Britain to Beyond, Smiths on Tour. There's one last one that had 2 young daughters. Oh, the Langham's Adventures, this channel here. I'm not sure if they've posted recently, but certainly back through their back catalogue. So the Langham Adventures, 2 small daughters, and try to flick through my saved list here. This will be riveting for you to watch. And then Richard's channel, it's called Britain to Beyond. Now he's kind of repositioned it slightly recently, talking a little bit more about the finances. But he's got 2 small daughters as well that he's travelling with. So hopefully there may be a couple of recommendations that you can go and have a look at. Chris, gifts like TikTok, send somebody a Galaxy for £10 and you get $2.50 out of it. Yeah, that's kind of the economics here of YouTube as well. When somebody makes there's super chats in this. So if somebody makes a super chat, I get 70% of it. So like last week, for example, Bob, BAW, he sent us I think a tenner. So I get like £7 of that. YouTube is fairly fair when it comes to that kind of stuff. There's other pages, I have Ko-Fi or Coffee, and I get tips and donations through it. I get 95% of the tip through it. So it's a much more generous platform, but it means you're kind of coming off of YouTube. Some people prefer just to kind of do it straight through YouTube. And then the ad revenue, when it comes to the ad revenue, so when you watch an advert on a channel, I get 55% of the money and YouTube takes the 45%. But they also deduct, if people skip off the adverts, if they've got ad blockers on it, all of that gets deducted. But if you've got YouTube Premium, you get a pretty decent cut from it. In fact, I think they've just announced, as part of this new shake-up on YouTube, there's a premium light that's rolling out worldwide, which means you don't get YouTube Music, and you might get the occasional advert. It's kind of like the Netflix subscription. And with it, I think I get like 60% of the ad revenue from the YouTube Premium Lite. So I think they've tested that in America, and now it's rolling out worldwide. It's just a cheaper version of YouTube Premium. I see of all the subscriptions, right? YouTube Premium is one of the only that I've kept running. I don't have Spotify. I don't have Amazon Prime. I have some subscriptions, but they're nearly all to run this channel. Like I have a Zoom monthly subscription that I do my Patreon live calls with. I have like ChatGPT that I use for kind of managing my money and my infrastructure and kind of our retirement life, all of that kind of stuff. I have a newsletter that I send out. If you haven't joined my weekly newsletter, I would love for you to sign up and be part of. It's just a regular weekly story telling you a little bit more about our travels. There's in the description of this, you can sign up, and I typically have about 400 people of that. I'm just looking at the statistics. I sent an email out yesterday. 57% of the audience have read yesterday's email. Now, I used to do email campaigns with my last job. See if you got like 2%, 3% to read your email, you were doing pretty well. My average weekly open rate of my emails is around the high 50s to early 60s. So if you want to join, and I just share a little bit more info, sometimes I give away free documents, free checklists, but I pay to run that service. I pay like 15 quid a month. So I have some subscriptions, and YouTube Premium is the main one that I keep because I watch so much YouTube. I just don't want to deal with the adverts that's included in it. So I pay for that. But YouTube Premium Lite is about to launch, which just means you don't get the YouTube Music side of it. And yeah, Jenny, it's like Twitch Gems, just a whole bizarre thing, right? It's a cuff fire sale. It is, mate. Microphone, cameras, mics, podcast mics, all for sale, including band t-shirts. Chris has checked 200 joules, $3.99. James, $3.99, mate. Mwah. Thanks, mate. I'll get a coffee on you later. I appreciate you. Rich Travels, 91 more than most YouTubers. Yes, I think, to give you the statistics, I think there's something like 5% of the entire platform makes enough to makes some money. And then it goes to like 1% who actually get a monthly payout. And then it goes to like 0.4% who make somewhere in and around over $500 a month. And then it goes to like 0.1% who actually make somewhere in amongst a living from it all. So yeah, I don't talk about it lightly. Obviously, as I've mentioned at the beginning of this, I've made 400 videos, 22 videos a month on average in order to get to that £91.93. So you got to put the work in to make it work. I enjoy the creative outlet. This gives me something to kind of do, and I enjoy the back and forth in the community and the chats and the questions, and I appreciate all of this. I don't take any of that for granted. I mean, again, if you're looking to turn YouTube into a business, going back to like Ben, for example, doing a kind of fitness channel, there's so many other ways that you can make money from this, right? AdSense is not, you're not building a career out of AdSense. But, you know, if you're maybe making training programs, or you're taking on clients, or you're doing sponsorships with companies, this new thing that YouTube has brought in, it's called products. I can go in and search a catalogue of products, and then I can talk about them on my channel and promote them. And that just feels so QVC, right? That just feels... there'll be plenty of people that will do that. There'll be plenty of people that will build businesses out of that. It's just not quite for me. I haven't found the right product. I'm not saying I'll never do a product sponsorship, but I've never had anything that's just quite been fitting. So I'll say that so far. However, if I was to recommend a cold coffee from Spa to you right now, I highly endorse this cappuccino cup. Brought to you by John Talks. Ah, Christ. If nothing else, I at least make myself laugh over all of this. Hello, Franz. How you doing? Nice to see you again. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you dropping in and saying hello. Does the money payment roll over to the next month? Yes, it does. It does roll over. So I have a second channel. And because I have a second channel that makes a very small amount, like £5-10 from videos that I've posted there, it actually combines with this channel's, so I always get paid out from it. But if I didn't, that £5, £10 would just sit there until it got to 60, and then it would make a payment. So yes, it does. However, YouTube has not answered the question about the shorts. So now shorts will only pay out if you get to 10 million views in a 90-day period. If you miss that 10 million views, you no longer get a payment from them, but they haven't answered if it just sits there. That bike, love, get the internet going. That's Yvonne dropped the RPMs down on the bike that keeps the internet running. She's in the living room cycling, and that keeps the internet going. See, when she drops down the pedal strokes, the internet goes off, my camera goes off, and the stream is disrupted. I'm sorry, guys. I'll have a word with her. Right, we're back. We're back. Internet, bloody internet. Let me ask you a question. A straight up question. What is the etiquette of Amazon parcels being collected? See, when you take a parcel in for another house, what is the etiquette of getting that parcel? Is it A, the person's whose house and parcel is awaiting the delivery should go and collect it? Or is it B, the person who has collected the parcel, who's taken the parcels in, responsibility to go to that neighbour and hand the parcel over? I must be able to do a survey or something. Let's see if I can be a technophobe, generate a poll. Right, hold on, I need to put the mic down. Right, start and show. Right, oh, right, go. I don't know how that works. I don't even know how you respond. What is the etiquette of an Amazon parcel delivery? We had some parcels delivered this week, and the Amazon guy gave us a parcel for number 5. And now they've never been to get it. It's 4 days later. So they'll have been told your parcel's been delivered, it's with a neighbour. And now we're just sitting there like, are we going to have to take it over to them? Do they take it over to us? Like, do we take it over to them? Like, tell me down below. I wrote that down today because I was like, I'm not taking that over there. Yvonne said to me, should we take it over? And I was like, no, come and get it. What's this all about? So you can tell me, does that work? Can you see that? Does it come up on screen? How do you answer that? I'd love to know what the answer is to that. I've never done this before. Can you see it on the screen, Vonnie? Oh, but that would be... So can you answer it on YouTube? Have I just totally wasted time with that there? I'm such a technophobe with this stuff. I bet you have to do it on YouTube or something. And I've done it on this extra software. Yeah, I've no idea. Baz says, not sure if I should recommend this, but I bought this cool blanket from Amazon. Oh, mate, if there's one thing I miss about the UK was we had a cool blanket. I also had a weighted blanket. I really, really liked that for sleeping. It was like 10 kilos, but it just kept me pressed in bed. I really liked it. But a cool blanket, oh, you've made me jealous. You've made me jealous. I have premium 8, no ads. Well, I think that's probably the kind of, oh yeah, because if you've got that level. So I wonder what the light will look like. I wonder if that'll be like a couple of pounds or something. So this whole, this nobody will be able to vote in this, will they? That's going to be frustrating. Parcel, after a week, open it, sell it. I like that strategy. This is the level we're at now, Paul, for Amazon parcel etiquette. This is why I'll never unsub from John Talks. Mate, I've got to give you something for your 200 jewels that you've sent me, right? I've got to give you something out of all of this. Otherwise, I'd feel that you were being shortchanged. Right, how did I make that happen and how did I take it away? I don't understand how people get to vote on it. Oh, that's polls. Polls can be shown live on stage and they update in real time as your viewers respond. Works for all streaming destinations. So can nobody vote on this? That I am amateur hour, amateur. I'm absolute amateur hour. So can you not vote on it, Vonnie? Oh, I feel that the stream's been an absolute waste of time. I'm going to have to run it back now. That is disappointing. You know, the funny thing is I could just have done it on YouTube as well. Right, stop the poll. Hide the poll. Nobody even told me in the comments what they would do anyway, so that was... Depends how far the house is from your location. Not far. Not far. Promote Insta cameras. Do you know, I won't lie, Chris. I did look them up. To see if they were part of the YouTube system, if Insta was offering. They weren't. No surprise, because they just sell anyway. What happens if we don't have a spa? You're going to need to go to the Co-op, mate. Or get one of those wee robot things to deliver it for you. Jenny, I'm away now. Thanks, love, for letting us know. I do always love the phrase, it's not an airport, you don't need to tell me about your departure. Oh, Christ. Oh. Breaking news on the channel, folks. I was going to make a video out of this, but I don't know if it's worth it, to be honest. So I'll just tell you here. Breaking news here on John Talks About. This is one of these moments. Richard Pound is doing a breaking news summary. Good news, folks. It's in. If you don't know who Centrica is, it's the parent company of British Gas. British Gas and Rebecca has coughed up the remaining £30 of my compensation for 2 years and 3 months of dealing with my father's house post his passing. So I have now been awarded the full 255 quid or 250 quid. I can't even remember. It's been so long now. But breaking news, I have received the full amount of money. Mick Shanks, how are you doing? I am very well, thank you. I was just discussing that British Gas have given me the 30 quid outstanding from my dad's complaint, and I'm over the moon that is now done. I wrote back to Rebecca yesterday and said, this is over. This is officially over. Close my complaint down. Let's never darken each other's door again. Let's never communicate post this email. Breaking news indeed. Time to spend that on another cup of coffee. Funny thing was, right, we went into that Irish bar last night. We had 2 Jack Daniels and 2 packets of popcorn and 1 Coca-Cola, and it was £17. So, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. A heavenly Jack Daniels to you, Dad. There's a skylight straight up there, so there's like light just shining in. So it kind of feels quite heavenly about that whole discussion. So thanks, Dad. Fuck British Gas. Jack Daniels on you. Bastard gas. I'm having trouble with them too. Trying to charge you 1k for a flat. Oh, wasn't even in the flat. Chris, I feel for you, mate. It is a hell of a company to engage with. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Is a little bit of dark humour there, laughing about all that stuff. I'll say this much. I think about my dad every single day. There isn't a day that passes I don't have a little moment to think about him being gone. And when that payment went into my bank, what was that, yesterday? I emailed British Gas back and I was like, it's over, we're done. They're never going to correct their apology. They're never going to say anything. When Yvonne and I went out last night, went into that Irish bar, I had a little moment to think about all of that. Comes back into your memory. Hello, Rachel. How you doing? Good evening from Vietnam. Mighty hot here. Let's compare temperatures. What are you at, Rachel? What are you at? You're going to be in the 40s, I bet you. It is only 32 here and a yellow warning for Spain. A yellow warning for Spain. A yellow warning for rain. I'm definitely not getting a job as a weather person, am I? 32 degrees here, but what are you at, Rachel, in the 40s? Hello, mate. Adapt with James. How you doing, buddy? Sanur in Bali. I do like Sanur. That's one of my favourite destinations we've gone to so far. We are definitely going back there. Maybe January, maybe February. I like Sanur. Baz. Did you ever have pork scratchings? I love pork scratchings. I used to do keto. Not keto. Carnivore. I used to do carnivore diet, just kind of sticking to meat, and I would eat a lot of pork scratchings because it was acceptable on that diet. I never would have eaten them as like a kid or anything, but when you need a snack on carnivore, pork scratchings are good. Bought some in Poland for people to try, and they thought it was a dog snack. I'm not surprised. A pork scratching has to kind of be a little bit like a prawn cracker to me. See, when it's got all that big fatty chewy bit on it, I'm not into that. I'm not really, I love bacon, but I'm not into like pork chops. I'm not into the fat on pork. See, like when you get like, you go in somewhere and you have like a pork dish and it comes out and it's got all the kind of meat below it and it's got the fat on top. I'm not really into that. So a pork scratching is just about at the acceptable level of tolerance of like my weird food things. Like I can eat a boiled egg, but I can't eat a fried egg. I'm very rarely could I eat scrambled egg unless I'm absolutely starving. But I love a boiled egg, runny or and a pickled egg, no problem. But see a fried egg, I've weird things like that. Rachel says it's 33, feels like 41. 6 p.m. was 37 earlier. Yeah, that is toasty. The other channel I was talking about earlier, Richard and Carrie, they were out in Vietnam. They've got their 2 small daughters, and they were mentioning how hot it was. So yeah, I feel you. And I, as I understand in the UK, like yesterday was like the last of the big like summer's days. Apparently it's going to change now, so maybe somebody in the UK can confirm that. Hopefully it's still hot and sunny today whilst our pals are getting married in Scotland today. Shiny coat. Tenacity and perseverance is unfortunately the only way to deal with these companies. Yep, I agree. Thanks very much for the plaudits at the end of all of that for my 30 quid. It just feels like a small win, doesn't it? And now the only thing that I have outstanding is the insurance battle and arbitration. 2nd of September will be the arbitration hearing which is basically just both sides talking through about what the next steps of this will be, and then the arbitrator will review the case, and then he'll flip a coin and decide whether I win or whether they win. And all I'll have out of all of this, regardless, will be a story to tell you all at the end of it of the factual steps that I've had to go through over these many months of fighting this insurance company, including the 6 case handlers, the wrong country that they had me in, the woman who took over the case that said she would get me a decision within days, then went on holiday, then came back and lied about being on holiday but got caught out on the emails, the changing the names of the company, the missed payment dates that they've had, the missed scheduling of the hearing dates that they've had. All of that I'll be able to include in the story, as well as unveiling who the company is. And lastly, the hilarious part of it all, which has also just happened this week. This is breaking news story number 2. So this is Richard Pound reporting, man on the ground, Richard Pound. Here is, I can't even show you this email, right? But I can just tell you, I can't show you it because you would see who the company is, but I can just tell you that it's the insurance company that I'm having the battle with reaching out to me to ask me if I would consider a sponsorship on the channel. The insurance company who are refusing to pay me out for my emergency surgery, which they deemed as a medical necessity to keep me alive, who then declined my case, emailed me on Thursday of this week to ask me if I would be interested in sponsorship on my channel to talk about their products. You fucking can't make it up. You cannot make it up. We leave after 4 weeks and 2 weeks in, is that Gilly Air? On Gilly Air. We want to stay, but my condition unfortunately hindered us. Well, you've got 4 weeks and then another 2 weeks on top of that. So have an amazing time, James. Soak up that time, and enjoy every minute of it that it's happening. Let's see what else we got. Miss Scotch eggs, pies, and Marmite. What was it I was thinking about this? There was something this week that I was genuinely missing. And I was like, I would love that. I'm trying to think what it was. Oh, it was a deep fried pizza. I was thinking about a deep fried pizza this week, and I was genuinely missing that from Glasgow. John, just a little bit of info on Indonesia online e-visa. You can apply for a 60-day C1 e-visa. That way you don't need to extend. That's good intel. Thanks, because we don't want to go for a month. We want to go a wee bit longer this time and just relax a little bit and kind of float around the island. So thanks very much for sharing that with me. You should set up an arbitration company, John. Treat people like humans. I've got to say, the arbitration company themselves have been pretty decent so far. They've managed the whole thing pretty efficiently. It's the insurance company that's taken the piss. So 3 deadlines for different payment structures that they have to pay in order to keep the case moving forward. They've missed every one of them. And then this week, I can't remember, was that Monday or Tuesday? They were asked to schedule the 2nd of September call, and they missed the deadline on that to do it. So it was all arranged. I contacted the arbitration company and we agreed that would be the date. And then they were emailed and told that's the date you'll attend. So the arbitration company's been fine, but it's been the insurance company the whole way through. Have you spent some time in Vietnam, Laos, or Cambodia in your travel so far? No, Peter, not yet. That's going to be next year. We're definitely going to do that next year. We were supposed to go to Vietnam this year, and then we, the very last minute, changed it to Bali. Then we didn't make it to Vietnam, but we will be doing so for sure. We're looking forward of definitely Cambodia and Vietnam. Boss says they'll do anything but not pay you what you're owed. That happened to my mum when Dad died, British Gas, a few years ago. I'm just, it makes me really, I worked for British Gas for 5 years. I worked for Scottish Power for 16 years. So between both of those companies that treated my dad like absolute shit, or subsequently treated me like shit, I gave them a combined 20 years of my own life. Now, they don't know that. It was never, I never emailed them at any point and was like, I'm an ex-member of staff. I never did any of that. And they won't know that. But it's just embarrassing to see. At least with Scottish Power, the CEO's department, not the CEO, they wrote and apologised, but British Gas, they don't care. Chris O'Shea is the CEO of British Gas. He's a Scottish guy. And I remember when he came into the job, he was the CFO before he took over as the CEO. And I remember when he came to the department that I was working and held a meeting with us. And I remember my first impressions of him. And since then, he's remained in position and made many, many millions of bonuses out of the actions that he's taken in that time of being the CEO, which was to make several thousand British Gas engineers redundant. I took redundancy. I volunteered for redundancy and left the company after my close to 5 years. I kind of had enough at that point. I didn't work specifically at British Gas. I started at the company Hive, which was a separate entity at the time that I joined it. And then when Chris O'Shea took over as CEO, he brought Hive back into the fold of British Gas, which is not where I wanted to be, which is part of the reason that drove my decision to want to leave. Because I had left Scottish Power of it being a massive business where you were nothing more than a number. And then after that, my career was at companies that were mainly around 200 to 250 employees, where I really enjoyed that environment. And that's what Hive was like when I joined. And then it was amalgamated back into British Gas. And that's when I decided I kind of wanted to be out of it, because you just went back to being a number. You could have no real impact because the corporate structure was so massive. I just don't really flourish well in that environment. Sorry, itchy nose. I've worked well in companies where they're small departments, when you can get to know people and you can influence decisions and you can make decisions and help push the business forward. Big companies like British Gas, it's like, have you spoke to this department? Have you spoke to this department? Have you spoke to that manager? Have you dealt with this union? Have you talked to this team over here? And it's like, I give in. You can never get anything done in these places, which is why I like to just focus on smaller companies. As a past life, now the company that I worry about is me, myself, and I. I'm the CEO, the CFO, the marketing director, the sales staff, the cleaner, the receptionist. I'm all of that now. In the world of YouTube. I digress. And isn't this the second time that they've proposed sponsorships? Yes. Thank you for keeping track of all of that. This is the second time that they've proposed sponsorship. In fact, the email that I got this week says, "Hi, John, I'm reaching back out to you because," and then they talk about, and they said, "And we reached out to you a while back and we currently have an opportunity available. If this would be useful to you, if you'd like to ask any questions, please reach back out to me." And it is a representative of the marketing team of that company. So thanks so much for paying such close attention to the details. But that is my second official offer of sponsorship from the company that won't pay me out. Oh, hello. Oh, I don't know if I can spin this round. But this is, hello, this is Amber. That's just to the left of me now. Beautiful, fiery orange cat who's now licking my toes. Stop that. Thank you. Are you coming over? Are you going to come over? You look like you're going to try. This is riveting content for all of you guys watching, isn't it? You want to do it, don't you? You're going to do it, aren't you? There you go. That's Amber having a little peek around. Hello. Are you looking at this? Are you trying to see if you can eat this? This is my microphone on a fork. All right, and we're back. Ah, dear. The twists and turns of the insurance battle. I've been living with these. It says a lot about life right now. It does, mate. It absolutely does. And see, when this is done, win or lose, I mean, if I win, right, here's what I win. I can have my own money back. That's what I get to win. Nothing else. No additional compensation. Maybe if I'm lucky, interest on the money that I'm owed, but nothing else. No compensation. No, just here's your money back. And if I lose, all I'll get to tell you if I lose is what this experience has been like the months of all of this back and forth. And the only reason that we're fighting this, right, is it comes down to just this one point. It's the definition of how long an emergency lasts. That's what it hinges on, because they're saying that I elected to have this surgery. The urologist surgeon says, no, he had to have a clinical amount of time to recover from the infection before we could carry out the surgery. That's why it was a medical necessity. They've agreed on that point, but they've said it wasn't an emergency. That's what we're disputing. And the reason for that is because my case would then open up kind of other people who have gone through an emergency that's lasted more than, say, for example, 24 hours. Their case would now be subject to the same claims as mine. So it's not necessarily about fighting me over my situation. It's about fighting the greater potential of claims that they could get. That's why it turns out I am the only person to have ever taken this company to arbitration. That's kind of what I'm discovering. The reason I'm discovering that is because the arbitrator has confirmed they've never heard of this company before, even though they are named in their terms and conditions. Oh, what a wild experience this has all been. Right, that's an hour and a half, folks. I'm sure you get bored of listening to me, and I get bored of listening to myself. One last thing from Chris. Hello, Yvonne. If you're watching, how's your Substack going? Can't believe John just said he's the company cleaner. That's definitely not Yvonne, that's for sure. We all carry many roles in life. We all carry many roles. And Yvonne's Substack's going well, thanks. I'm answering on behalf of her. And Baz, large companies are like large prehistoric animals. They really are. That was why those companies that I went to work for, like Hive was a startup when I went there. It was like 180 people. And at one stage it got to like 600, and then it reduced back down to being like 200, and then it was swallowed up by British Gas. And now I think it's like 30 people or something, or less, the last time I heard anything about it. Now it's just part of the British Gas business. So I'm well away from all of that. I'm glad to be got from all of that. Right, folks, Saturday afternoon gone. My coffee's finished. If you haven't seen the video with Lee and Sarah yet, please go and check that out. And tomorrow I'll have a new video of what it's like to travel from Kuala Lumpur to Istanbul. I'm catching back up to speed with some of the videos that I've documented. And then we'll have some new stories and some stuff for you next week. If you haven't joined my email, please do. It's free of charge. Send out every Friday, sharing a little story. And I wish you all a great weekend. And thank you so much for joining me here on this, entertaining me and asking me all these questions and stuff on a Saturday afternoon. I appreciate all of you. Have a great weekend, folks.